Well, someone has to say this. Nudity, or wearing clothes that barely leave anything to the imagination, is not women empowerment. It's not even men empowerment. Pumping and grinding and rapping and twerking don't make you a great performer, regardless of your gender. And doing it without consideration as to who is watching isn't freedom of expression. It's inconsiderate and disrespectful. Because while an artist has the right to express their art any way that they want, the audience also has the right to not see anyone's private part jiggling behinds and breasts and watch anyone simulate sex on stage if they don't want to. And yes, the audience will not watch if they know that someone is about to do that in their performance. And that's where the problem lies. All these artists just do it and take pleasure in shocking everyone. And the saddest part of all of it is that it is so normalized, so accepted, and so widespread that many artists from the West or the East and female idol groups actually built their entire career around it. And worse, I don't even think these female artists even realize that that's all that they are doing. Their dance routines are all grinds and pumps moves designed to make them bend down and show their behinds. When they sing about empowerment, somehow it has to involve them spreading their legs or shaking their breasts or swiping their butts. It's ironic, don't you think? Women have spent decades to emphasize that their body is not all that they have to offer. And that's all they end up showing. Hi, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. I'd really appreciate it. Yes, women are the masters of their own body, and no one has the right to tell them what to do with it. However, it doesn't give them the right to force it on other people, to force people to watch it or see it. Artists have the right to grow their art and express themselves. And if that includes nudity, then they should be left alone to do it. But while they have the right to do whatever they want to do with their body, other people have the right to not see other people's private parts and watch other people simulate sexual moves on stage if they don't want to, especially in front of the children. If artists want their rights respected, they should respect the rights of their audience. Yes, our bodies aren't sex objects. It's beautiful and perfect, and it must be appreciated for what it is, not for the sexual satisfaction that it can bring. It is important for girls and young women to be comfortable in their own skin. They need to respect it and honor it. But nudity isn't the only way they can honor it. In fact, we must care for it better than we care for any material possessions. A true artist is prolific. When all you do is the same thing, grind, pump, twerk, wap, and go naked, you have to ask yourself, do you really have something else to offer? Are you still the great artist you want people to believe in with your clothes on? And more importantly, young girls and women should know that there are better ways to explore their artistry and express themselves. That nudity and lewdness, simulating sexual acts in their dance routine, don't make them cool or powerful or brave. It doesn't even make them an artist. There are other ways to communicate power and control in art without exposing themselves. The body is a vessel. The body is a sacred vessel that they need to take care of because it is theirs and it is the only one that they will ever have. It is a vessel that will allow them to do great things, pursue their passion, work, travel, paint, touch other people, hold the hand of the people that they love, hug their family tight, scratch the belly of their dog, write, engineer, create cars, design buildings, construct houses. So they have to treat it with respect, to treat it with more respect than they would anything else they possess. I look at K-pop fans and look at the way they treat their photo cards. They would always take care of it. They won't allow anybody to touch it. They put it in expensive binders, keep it, don't, as I've said, not allow anybody to touch it, and they wouldn't even just allow anybody to look at it. You have to be like someone they trust for you to be able to look at their photo cards. I think that our bodies are more important than a photo card. We must take more care. We must give it more care than we do a photo card. You can't just allow anybody to touch it, right? I think we need to look at it with so much respect, exclusivity, royalty. It is the most premium thing that we can ever have. So if we're going to allow anybody to touch it, they must deserve it, right? They must deserve it, because this is the best thing that we can ever have. If we're going to allow anybody in it, that person has to deserve it. And that it has to be for the right reasons. I mean, I get it that some women just want to sleep around because it feels good, or for whatever reason that they have, and it's none of my business. But I also think that just because it feels good, it isn't always right. There's a lot of things that feel good that don't feel right. Nudity, sexuality, and sensuality has a place. I'm a firm believer that there is always a place for nudity. There's an appropriate time for grinding and pumping and twerking and waping. I think one great example of that would be when I think the very first big controversy about nudity in the Philippines was Schindler's List. There was the scene in there where the Jews were being stripped off their clothes. They had to march, and then basically with their clothes off. I think in that specific instance, I think it's appropriate that they're all nude, because you're trying to the story is trying to depict and make you feel, as an audience, make you feel the shame that those people had to go through during that time. I think that's appropriate. And there are other instances when it's appropriate too. There are movies that talks about abuse of women and rape. Then in those instances, it's necessary for them to recreate a rape scene, because they're trying to make you feel how it is to be violated, how it is to be stripped of your honor and dignity and your right. But it doesn't change the fact that our body is a sacred vessel. It is special, sacred, one of a kind. So I think it's high time for girls to also realize that, especially for young girls, to realize that just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. That nudity and sleeping around, those aren't necessarily empowering. You can decide. What's even more empowering is if you decide that you're going to keep your clothes on, and that you're not going to just sleep around. You're going to be very careful on who you sleep with or end up with or have a relationship with, because you're special. You're the most special person in the world, and they have to be just as special for them to deserve you. Gender equality doesn't mean we should do what men are doing. Even then, when it's a man doing it, when it's a man grinding and pumping and twerking, when it's a man taking their clothes off, it's also vulgar. So it doesn't make it acceptable just because it's a woman doing it. I think if it's a man doing that, if it's a man dancing and his private part is dangling for everyone to see, it's vulgar for us. So I think it's the same thing for women. It's called a private part for a reason, at least for me. I know it's frustrating to see men walking around shirtless and they get praised for their nudity while women are criticized. I know it's frustrating to know that men can sleep around and they get brownie points while women are actually accused of being sluts. However, I don't think that it is us who should change, but men. Men should be the ones to recognize that they should respect their body the same way we respect ours. That they should recognize that simulating sexual acts on stage, singing or rapping about their private parts, constantly talking about misogyny and abuse towards women, violence towards other people, beating their breasts for being dope and hardcore, these are not proofs of masculinity. They are in fact cheap and a sign of insecurity and stupidity. And that applies to either men or women. Okay, so that's my personal disposition. And my personal position, my opinion. I would love to hear yours, and please go ahead and share them in the comment section. And for those that will be reading the comments, please do not bully anybody. If you do not share the opinion, state yours. You substantiate it, but please do not call other people names. Don't harass other people. Okay, and thank you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And if you want to get in touch with me, the social media links are on your screen right now. Thank you. Until next time.